Up or down? This could be a really quick presentation. Let's wait and see. Find the right one. Okay, what I wanted to talk to you about today was a few trends that I can kind of see coming through talking to people, sort of like yourselves, kind of things that brands and businesses are doing, and then pick up on a couple of them and say, okay, so as SMEs, as Anthony said, you know, we're all sort of operating or working within an SME. What can we actually do? So what are these things we can sort of capitalise on? So first of all, I've got the same coat on. That was a bad decision, wasn't it? I have got more than one, honestly. What kind of qualifies me to stand here? Probably very little, but nevertheless, I'm going to trade off the equity of Birmingham City University. I'm one of the senior lecturers within future media, and basically with future media, what we're kind of looking at is trends that are creeping, cresting continually, and trying to teach the students how to adopt those into a business strategy, and then to work within the industry as well. So maybe that's a little bit of qualification. Maybe speak to the students, they'll probably know best. But within my day job, as a consultant, as a founder of Planet 9, a digital agency, and also as the senior lecturer, I'm always sort of asking, what's the next big thing? What's the next big thing? Well, in all honesty, if I knew what the next big thing was, I'd probably be doing it and sitting in Malibu now on my millions. But nevertheless, I'll try and sort of talk about a few of the trends that I can sort of see coming through. One of the ones that Anthony touched on as well is sort of location, which is obviously the centre part here, which is about findability. I think there's this term sort of going around SOLO-MO or low-mo, so and mo, so low, and all the other permutations of that people keep talking about. Essentially what they're talking about is the absolute convergence of social. So what am I doing socially? Facebook, Twitter, etc. What am I doing locally? Whereabouts am I? And obviously if I'm out and about, mobile. So when I say the convergence of that, it's again, as Anthony said as well, it's bringing that stuff together. So as SMEs, how can we think about that? What are our customers doing? Where are they doing it? When are they doing it? And then tying that together and saying, okay, well, how can I help them? How can I be useful and relevant? And those are the two key things that I'm going to thread through a lot of the presentation. The next part is ambassadors. Many years ago, I don't know if anybody's seen any of the Tom Fishburne cartoons. They're fantastic. There's this one which is all about the evolution of marketing, where we go from being snake oil salesmen to equity characters, etc., etc. The interesting part about it, if you look it up online, tomfishburne.com, is that the first four, should we say, personas are all brand controlled. The next one, which is out now, is all of us lot. It's all customer controlled. So the new ambassadors, the new brand managers indeed, are ambassadors. So they're people who like our business, like our service, like our product. And there's an old adage that goes across something along the lines of the customer you want is like the customer you've got. That is so true. That's really, really true now. So ambassadors, to me and to all of us, are something we should be looking at. So how can we develop a more meaningful relationship with the customers? How can we get them to talk about the experience, the product, the service going on through? Because social media, getting involved in that, you'll quickly find that it takes up a lot of time. It doesn't have to. There are a number of people out there who can help you with it, and those are your ambassadors. So one of the trends this year for us as SME is trying to find our ambassadors. Who can we actually recruit to the fold to talk about our brand business experience? Sounds really straightforward. It's not. It does take a bit of effort, but it's certainly possible. Big data, second yawn. Anthony was talking about it in some detail. I mean, big data is going to be something that's really, really coming on. I was listening to something on Radio 4. I accidentally went onto the channel from Radio 1. I am still cool. But nevertheless, I was listening to something on Radio 4, and it was about big data. And essentially the guy was saying he's bored of the name now. I'm so bored of it. And everyone's talking about it. It's becoming like social media, like, oh, yawn. But actually, it's not really the phrase that's interesting. For us as SMEs, what's interesting is what does it actually mean? As it says there, 10% of the data we've probably got as businesses is structured. Name, address, email address, all very structured, very easy to manage in Excel. But some of the interesting stuff is 90% of it is unstructured. And what I mean by unstructured is things like emails into the customer centre or emails coming into the sales team, tweets, posts, likes, all of this sort of unstructured data. This is what's going to be the big challenge within big data. Because again, as Anthony said, there's a lot of it. And it's trying to find the useful and valuable stuff apart from just the interesting stuff. I mean, how many of us get lost when we're trying to look for something on Twitter or on Facebook that could be important and you kind of just digress and off you go. And lo and behold, it's lunchtime. That is one of the big risks with big data as well. There's lots of interesting stuff in there. It's not all sort of yawn filled, like that Labrador puppy said. There is actually some interesting things there, so trying to distill it down to some insights. it's about spotting trends early. So if we can see things that are going on within social that we can capitalise on. It's very much like surfing, standing on the beach kind of looking for the wave to come through. So it is a challenge. There is a lot of data out there that's around it, but it's finding the things that are actually interesting and important to us as businesses. The next one, which I'm going to focus on a little bit more sort of in a couple of minutes' time, is around content and content marketing. Again, it's a term which is really coming through, and essentially content marketing is putting together things like SEO, paid search, social, bringing the whole thing together, broadening all of that, bringing it together under one umbrella and forming a strategy for it. And the reason why we're talking about it a lot now is that buyer behaviour has changed. It's not, I want something, I'll go and get it, I'll go and buy it. We don't do that anymore. If that's the way it was, my job would be so easy. And the things I would teach the guys at Birmingham City in a year, I could teach them in an afternoon. Just get them to read a book by Drake and Bird from the 70s. Really, really easy. But it's not like that. We go around, we look at friends, we talk to people, we go online, we look for reviews. It's very, very tricky. So content marketing, essentially, is about being in the right place at the right time. Now, that sounds like the holy grail for us as marketers, but essentially, it's about having a constant presence. Being useful, relevant, timely, talking about your brand, your business, your service, just continually talking and offering help and advice. You see some great people doing some good content marketing. Clearly Coca-Cola, Red Bull, they're doing it and they're doing it very well. There's a marketing automation system that helps with content marketing called HubSpot, worth checking out. Also, if you're on Facebook, like them. See some of the stuff that they send through. Top 5 this, top 10 that, 3 ways to do this, 7 ways to do that. I must have about 30 PDFs from these guys. One of these days I'm going to read them. Nevertheless, they all seem really interesting from the title. You just need a long delayed train journey. The point is around content marketing is it can reduce cost. And that's exactly something that we're aiming to achieve. 61% lower cost per lead. Double your web traffic. I mean, they're all amazing statistics and they've been drawn through a large data source across 2012 through a number of sectors. So I'd urge you to have a look at this and we'll have a look in a few minutes' time in more detail. But this is the, I was nearly going to swear then, I won't. This is the real pain in the backside for us this year, is that everyone's becoming a lot more cost considerate. I don't mean tighter, I don't mean less money. Some of them may have less money. The point is, we're all becoming quite cost conscious. We know there's a deal out there. So customers know there's a deal out there, so we've got to help them with their deals. So this is going to underpin everything that we do, which is where content marketing for me is going to be a real key thing for this year. Okay, so for 2030, I can't read, I'm going to stand here. What I would encourage us to do is focus on what we've got now, try and be more social, local mode, get that into your thought stream and think about how you can do that. Targeting some social data, and I don't mean going out there and purchasing Oracle for £2 million. I mean, happy days if you can do that, but nevertheless, think about some of the content, some of the data you can actually use. If you're on Twitter, have a look at some of the followers. What are they talking about? Just try and narrow it down. So as Anthony said again, I'm going to keep referring to it, I like that presentation. Think big, take small steps. Paraphrasing, something similar. But that's the point, is think big, but just take small little incremental steps. And then recruiting external spokespeople as well, as I've spoken about with ambassadors. And be aware customers are getting smarter and smarter. We're going to get cleverer and cleverer and cleverer. My kids are already cleverer than I am. Imagine what we'll be like in 20 years' time. They're going to be very clever, they're our customers. It was all quite interesting. Well, I thought it was. That skipped on very quickly, probably for a good reason. Let's try and go back, can we? Okay, we're not going to go back. All right. When I say driving more from what we've got now, I would say most of us have probably got a website already. And we're trying to constantly improve it. How can we get better? How can we get better? So standard kind of conversion model, we can see it going down there. If we want a bit more, the classic way of getting a bit more is to get a bit more on the top. So the click-throughs is working quite well so far. So lo and behold, stick 20% more in the top, give or take, you probably get 20% out of the bottom. The sticking point with this is the 20% more, because we're probably already spending quite a bit in the digital space. So what could we do? We can focus on the basket. And when I say basket, I don't just mean e-commerce. You know, any sort of basket you've got, a contact form, download a PDF, registration for event, anything like that, that is the basket. That's the transaction you're trying to get people to do. So we can focus there, and if we get an uplift on the basket, 20%, you get 40 at the bottom. That's a big number. It's pretty good. So it's worth focusing there. But the trick is not just to focus there. The trick is to actually just get a little bit at every single stage, and this is where content marketing can really help. Because if we get a little bit at every single stage, the numbers soon build. Yeah, 85% increase, give or take, I'm rounding up. That's a pretty good increase. I'd take 70. I wouldn't be greedy. 85 would be absolutely fantastic, but it's trying to illustrate a point that just focusing on the small steps, like little bits on the homepage, the signage there, little bits on, download this PDF, how can you maybe link out, how can you upsell, just little incremental steps, thinking bigger, taking small steps. This guy, quite clever. Essentially what he was saying with the cycling team, there isn't one single element of the, get this right, GB cycling team, that he can put down to the point of winning all those medals in the Olympics. What he was basically saying was it was 1%, just 1% better diet, 1% better training, 1% better on the bike. Just all of these incremental steps made a massive difference. Because everyone's saying to him, how have you done it? And well, I don't really know. Just a little bit all along the way. And that's what I'd encourage you to do. Just a little 1% at each step. Okay, so I've mentioned content marketing a few times. I'm going to try and sort of talk around some of that. Guys, anybody who can... Couple of minutes. Right, a couple of minutes. Content marketing. Breeze into it. No problem. Okay. When I'm talking about content marketing, it's about creating content that's useful, relevant, timely, so it's lists. But with content marketing, be careful, because reuse of content you're developing is permissible. But if you keep on doing continued replication, you're going to start losing relevance, because there is a sales pipeline, again, as Anthony was saying, people sort of coming through, so you need to be developing content all the time. That's probably what a lot of us are thinking, oh, I don't have time for this. I've got customers, I've got phone. But the point here is that content marketing will increase your leads and will increase your sales. That is the right end of the problem to have. It's definitely good to be busy. And it doesn't actually take long. And the reason why I say it doesn't take long is when you look at the top 10 most popular content marketing trends, give or take, probably most of us are doing some of those already. Because we're actually doing them as part of just conducting normal business. And the guys who are getting the biggest uplifts from content marketing are spending only sort of 1 to 5 hours a week on this. And they're actually going to be increasing 75% nearly, I'm rounding up again, so they're going to be increasing their approach to content marketing this year. And the reason why they're doing this and how they're doing this is they're actually looking at everything they're doing in the content marketing space and drawing it together under a strategy. So being more strategic about when they post to their blog, when they tweet, what kind of list they put out, things they do at the basket. They're just wrapping the whole thing together into a content marketing strategy. And the starting point of that is to actually conduct a review. So basically take a step back and look at what you're doing in the space. So what kind of things are going on the website? What kind of white papers have you got, if you have any? What kind of email comms are going on? Take a look at all of this and align it into what I like to sort of call the 5 steps. I work also with a training consultancy called Zuba, who specialise in some of this area here. And they say, look at what's going on out there. So listen, then create, engage, then sort of transform, which is the lead nurturing, and then grow, and then go through. So it's a cycle. It's a continual cycle. You can look this up as 5 steps. You should find it online. Last 2 slides. Unashamedly, this is a sales pitch, but it is a sales pitch with a slight difference. As I mentioned, Planet 9, we've actually got a social good philosophy running through the business. And we help out on the Harry Moseley charity. I don't know if anybody know about the Harry Moseley charity. Excellent, good, that's great. Hopefully by the end of the year we'll get more heads nodding as well. We actually pledged at a recent event to raise some money for them through what we do as a business. So with content marketing, I can't believe we're putting this up, but essentially we're saying that if you would like some help and you would like some support with this, it is free. We'd actually go a step further and we'll actually make a donation to help Harry help others. As I said, it's an unashamedly sales pitch, but it's hopefully one with a bit of a difference, I hope you don't mind. Okay, so in summary, there are some really, really big ideas coming. And as Henry said right at the start, use the ones that are relevant to your business. Technology is just an enabler. Think about what you're trying to achieve as a business, then use the right technology for it. Employing lots of technology won't take the problem away. I remember back in the 90s, everyone said the solution to CRM was Oracle. It's not. It's just a database that costs a lot. And be useful, timely and relevant always as you're going through with your communications. Think about as a customer, what do I need? When do I need it? What do I want? And kick off with a review and then get busy planning and executing.